If you want to be a 28-year-old billionaire like this guy or a 30-year-old millionaire like this handsome guy, then you need to watch this video before you start your first job or your new job, because I'm going to help you get skills faster and get promoted a whole lot faster so you can make more money. Now, a lot of the tips in this video revolve around how to actually build your personal brand at work, because your personal brand matters a whole lot more than how good you are at your actual job. And trust me, I learned that the hard way in my first job. And so this video also contains a bunch of mistakes that I made early on in my career so that you can avoid those as well. So the first tip that I have for you is that you should always show up early and leave late, or if possible, leave last at your company, whether you're starting a new job or your first job, because this builds the impression that you are a hard worker. Now, you only have to do this for the first month or two, and then people are just going to assume that this is your schedule and you're a really hardworking employee. Even if you stay late to go to the gym or do other things besides your regular job, maybe you have a side hustle, or you're just taking care of your bills and other chores from your computer, all of this is still going to make it look like you are one of the hardest workers in the room. And if this is your first job or your new job, you're going to give your manager the impression that they made the right choice by hiring you. For me, right when I switched careers into recruiting, I started working at a top tech company, and I would come in before everybody else and I would leave much later than everybody else. But that was just what I was used to doing from my previous job as a management consultant. As a management consultant, I used to work 80 to 100 hours a week, and at my new job, I only worked about 50 hours, but to most people, it looked like I was working so much more than them that everyone around the office knew me as Corey, the guy who works really hard. Now, I still stay until around 5 or 6 o'clock at night, but I'm going to the gym in the middle of the day, or I'm taking care of other stuff like filming videos while I'm there, and people still assume that I'm working really hard at my regular day job, even when I cut back down to about 40 hours a week. And this leads me to my second point, and this is one thing that I learned very hard early on in my career, is that working hard at your job is not enough to actually get you noticed and get you a promotion. I know a lot of us assume that the system, or how your company's performance plan and system usually works, is that if you work hard, then you would be rewarded with promotions and big bonuses. But really, promotions are all about managers talking to each other, and they get to kind of play favorites sometimes, even if they tell you that their system and process is not designed that way. So when they get to play favorites and talk amongst themselves, then how do you think they actually choose who gets promoted and who gets the big bonuses? It's all about your personal brand. So yes, you should be working hard and doing good work, but if you don't advocate for yourself or advertise your work, and so if people don't know about the amazing things that you've done or the problems that you've solved, then you're not going to get credit for it. This is where the art of humble bragging comes into play, and you need to know how to actually do this in order to navigate the political landscape at your job. And a great way to do this is to ask for feedback from people either on your team or on other teams as you're doing or finishing projects. Now, you and I both know that you did an amazing job and you actually don't find anything wrong with what you did, but by asking for feedback, it shows people that you're open to feedback and that you're constantly seeking to get better. And then when you tell them about all the amazing stuff that you've done and how you've solved it, you're actually just going to end up impressing them and then being on their radar when it comes time for promotion talk. Now, speaking of promotions, this brings me to my next tip, and that is that before you choose your new job or start your next job, you should be very cognizant about who your manager is. In fact, your manager is the most important person at your job, because they can dictate what the true culture is on your team, and they basically control your career and your pay. So make sure you ask the right questions to your potential boss before you accept or start your job, to make sure that your boss is, number one, a good person and actually cares about you and your career and your development, but number two, actually has enough political pull in that company in order to help you get the jobs that you want, the projects that you want, and can actually help you get promoted. Because if your manager is too low on the totem pole compared to other managers, then they're actually not going to be able to vote for you and get you that promotion when you need it. And also, if your manager has a bad personal brand at the office, when they talk about your work to other people and other teams and other managers, then you, by association, are also going to have a bad brand. So here are some of my favorite questions that I like to ask my future boss before I accept any job offers, but I do have a full video outlining and explaining other questions that you can ask and things that you should be looking for in terms of culture, skill set, and progression in this video right over here. By the way, if you're finding this to be helpful, make sure you click subscribe down below, because I post free weekly content just like this, and I want to help you accelerate your career. Now, my next tip is that you should not be afraid to move or relocate cities for the right opportunity. Or if you've been on the job hunt for over 6 months now and you haven't been able to find anything in your local market, you should definitely consider applying for jobs in other places. Especially if you're in a smaller job market, you should definitely look at a bigger city area. And if you're lucky enough, some of the companies that will hire you can actually provide you a relocation package, so you actually don't even need to pay anything when you're doing the move. And sometimes you can actually make money from the relocation package. Now, also, it is worth it to consider just bearing the cost and moving yourself if you are going to go to a higher cost of labor market, because you're going to end up making more money in the long run anyway. I know it can be a scary and big change, but I also want to point out to you from a recruiter perspective that if you've been out of a job for more than, say, 8 months and it's on your resume, then it actually gets significantly harder for you to land a job, because we're going to assume that there's something wrong with you as a candidate, and that's why no one was able to give you a job for so long, even if you pass all of our interviews. Oh, and also it'll be even harder for you to get an interview the longer you haven't had a job. So I do think it is worth a move, and you can always move back home later on once you've made more money. And also, if you get a job at a better, bigger company in a different city, it's also just going to catapult your career, and they can help you move back to your hometown later on in a smaller job market and work at one of the top companies there. This next tip here is for anyone who's starting their very first full-time job. Maybe it's out of college or something like that. And my advice to you is that you should use your first 3 years to learn everything you can about your job, and then truly ask yourself at the end of 3 years if you like your job or not. 3 years is right about the time where you should have enough time to master all the skills at your job, starting to get comfortable. It should be slightly less stressful, and it'll also give you a lot of exposure to what your boss does in their role, and maybe what one of your senior teammates does, because maybe one promotion above you, so that you can actually see what your life and career would look like a few years from now. And so 3 years is the perfect time for you to actually decide if this is something you would like to do for the rest of your life. And if it's not something you want to do, then it's not too late in your career to go ahead and switch. 3 years in is actually the perfect time for you to do a career transition. That's right around the same time that I switched into recruiting from finance. And so when you're looking to switch careers in the future, because again, you're going to be working for up to 65, and so you don't want to do a job that you hate for 40 something years. And when you want to switch careers, it's far easier to do it early on in your career, because recruiters are more willing to give you a chance. And also, it's a lot easier for you to take one step back and take a minor pay cut to get a new type of job, because you have over 40 years to build a career. My next tip, especially as you start your first job, is that you should start saving and investing as early as you can, even if it's only $100 a month. And most importantly, you should be maxing out your 401k every single year. And if your company gives you free money to your 401k, usually they call it a 401k matching program, you should take full advantage of that as well. If you were to contribute the maximum amount to your 401k pre-tax every single year, by the way, which lowers your taxable income, then by the time you retire at 65, you'll have over $2 million. And that's without doing any other investments at all, because of the power of compound interest. And if you're lucky enough to have a job right now that pays enough money where you have maxed out your 401k and you have still extra money left over, then you should look into a Roth IRA as well. Remember, when it comes to investing and being a millionaire without having to do much work at all, it's all about time in the market. So the earlier you start, even if it's only $100 a month, can actually have huge benefits 40 years from now. My next tip for you to accelerate your career is to choose your job or to choose your next opportunity based on the skills that you would gain by taking this new role, not by chasing the money. Especially if you work in tech, I know it's really tempting if another company comes along and offers you like a 10% bump to do the exact same job, but in the long run, it's far better for you to actually accelerate your career by getting more skills and increasing your scope of work. That's why right now there's a bunch of 20-year-old AI billionaires, because they were all willing to take a step back, take a little bit of a risk, but learn new skills in a new market like AI, where there's not a lot of talent right now. And then by developing these new skills in a new market that's now suddenly in demand, they get to ask for whatever they want when they're negotiating for job offers. So remember, chase the skills, not the money, because you're going to make more in the long run. Now, to that same point, you can't predict the future, so I don't think you should just chase new skills that you think are going to be hot in the market. I know AI is hot right now, but you actually don't know how long this trend is going to last, and so you should just do a job that you actually love rather than trying to just chase different trends. So I'll give you an example. Back in the day, a lot of people used to want to be automotive or mechanical engineers, because working on cars at companies like Ford was one of the coolest and best paying jobs you could do. But since then, obviously, we've moved on to like software and AI AI and other things like that. So working in the automotive industry has not been cool or sexy in a really long time. But fast forward to about 10 years ago, Tesla got created. And then Elon Musk needed to hire a bunch of all of these automotive engineers and people who were fantastic at working in factories and building cars, and he was providing crazy pay packages to people at Ford to go and work at Tesla. And then there's a bunch of other new EV companies as well who need this top talent. And so just because you love working with cars, now you can actually make a ton of money while doing what you love. And no one would have ever been able to predict that. And also, if you look at Silicon Valley, which was initially built around hardware engineers and the actual silicon and chips, then for the last about 20 years or so, all of the highest paying jobs in tech have all been around software, right? We've seen people at graduating from their bachelor's degree at 22 years old making over six figures, right? Because they're software engineers. And so a lot of people chose to go down that route because it was the fastest way to make a ton of money without working very hard. But now all of the layoffs at these tech companies are for software engineers. And now all these tech companies really need hardware engineers, back to what Silicon Valley was built around over 30 years ago. And so if you are a hardware engineer doing things that you actually love, now you can make a ton of money again because all these companies need the hardware to power all of the AI, and there's a bunch of hardware going in everyone's smartphones. And so you should always just do what you love because you'll never know where you can make money in the future. And if you do what you love, you're more likely to actually be good at your job. And then when you're the best at your job, you're gonna make good money no matter where you are. Now, my next tip is coming from me, a former management consultant, or someone who just worked more than 80 hours a week and have seen other people who've been in consulting or working in the industry for their entire careers. And I've seen, unfortunately, them choose work over family and their personal health quite a bit. And for those of you who are in high stress, long hour jobs like consulting, investment banking, or maybe you're like a surgeon or doing anything like that, you should probably ask yourself if it's worth choosing your health, friends, and family over your career and making a little bit more money. My personal stance is that I'm far willing to take a slight pay cut if it means I have better work-life balance and could actually see the people that I care about. Now, my next tip for anyone looking at their first job or trying to figure out and plan their career is you should really ask yourself how much you actually need to go back to school if you're thinking about getting a master's degree or a PhD or trying to just break into a new field. There's a lot of jobs these days that you can actually get without having to go back to school by just getting the relevant work experience at your company or by doing a side hustle. And keep in mind, a lot of these degrees on their own don't actually guarantee you a job. You would still need to go to one of the top universities for whatever type of job you're trying to switch into. You would also need to make sure you're getting a good and relevant internship at a top tier company. Otherwise, your degree will basically be worthless if you're not able to get a job within the first 6 months of graduation. And my next and probably most important tip is that you should just say yes to everything when you're at a new job or early on in your career working your first job, because this is going to open up a lot more doors for you. And trust me, a lot of these skills these days are not that hard to get. You can teach yourself as you go, especially with AI and ChatGPT. There's so many free resources out there in order to actually learn what you need to do. And also, if there's someone at your company who asked you to do something or has wanted to see if you could volunteer for a project, they wouldn't have asked you to do it if they didn't think you would be able to. And plus, if you're getting paid to learn a new skill, I think you would be twice as motivated to do it, right? And if you think about it, the more skills that you get to learn at your current job today makes you more marketable and can make you more money in the future. And it can also help you figure out if you like your job faster, and then you can switch into something you actually do like. I remember at my very first job in management consulting, right out of school, I was only 22 years old, my manager asked me to lead a global training for a finance and accounting department, teaching them how to use a new finance tool that we had just helped them install. I myself have obviously never used this tool before, and he just gave me the instruction manual and told me to build a 1-hour presentation walking them through all of the different ways to log transactions and to handle FAQs. So I basically read the entire manual myself overnight and then I watched a few videos online, and then I built a presentation, and I was able to lead a training in 2 days to a bunch of different accountants about a software that I had no idea even existed 48 hours ago. And this actually ended up being one of the pillars in my promotion packet to help me get to the next level and earn a fast promotion at the end of my first year. Now, these are all the things that you need to know before you actually start your first or next job, but in order to actually get that job, you're gonna need to pass more interviews. And so you're gonna wanna watch this video that I have right over here about things you should never say in a job interview, because it's actually gonna hurt your chances of getting that job or negotiating for more money.